you got a copy of the book in the back on millennials. That is the 11th book that I've written for this industry. It is the most sourced book. I think it's only like 65 pages long and has 78 sources in that book. This was a rather politically explosive subject, and so I decided I better be very careful on what I say and source this thing in a very big way. You're going to enjoy the book. I hope you read it all. How many of you already started to read it? That's what I thought. Half of you probably already read the book. That's just great. When I got called by Bonnie this year to speak, she'd read my script and she said, this is a great book and this is information that our people need to hear. And Bob, we'd like you to speak and we'll do a deep dive session. And I said, gee, that's great. So I got off the phone in my office, said to me, they said, well, what happened? I said, we're going to speak at GAMA. And they said, well, what else did she say? And I said, well, she said I was a disruptor. It said, what? And I said, an industry disruptor. And I said, really? I said, yeah. I said, disruptor. I said, I think she meant I was an industry raptor. But, that means like you're the eagle that flies over the castle and you look for opportunities and threats and you bring it down to the king and make sure they are aware of this thing before something happens. And that's what my graphic design person said, Bob, that's not what she said. She said you were a disruptor. And within about 2 minutes, they sent me the photo of what I really do look like to this industry. So, thank you, Bonnie. I appreciate that, being called the industry disruptor. So I'm here to do some damage in the next 8-9 minutes here before I leave, and I hope I fulfill that dream of hers. So you probably wonder what I want to talk to you about. Obviously, I want to talk to you about millennials in today's marketplace. I also want to talk to you about what's going on in this marketplace because I do believe there's a lot of us that are not taking this serious enough, and there is some serious damage being caused. I can back that up by sitting down and saying that we know without a question that production is at one of the lowest points in life production that we have had probably in modern history. The average agent today is producing 1.2 sales per month. Many of us were brought in this business, we had 100 sales per year and we got awards for it. That's unheard of in today's marketplace. We know that retention is an all-time low. Some of you have had the worst retention the last 2 years you've ever had. You're not exactly sure what's going wrong. You know your ROI is not good, your return on investment. And we have a company that is missing here today that was the largest company in the United States with the biggest career office development in the country, and they are no longer here. And the reason why was because they could not justify the return on investment to maintain a career operation. To me, that's staggering. To us, it should be frightening. So as we go into this, really what we're looking for is, what is the millennial marketplace looking at today? Because they compose today 41% of the workforce in America. You cannot continue not to deliver what they want, what they expect, what it's going to take to be able to fulfill them in today's marketplace. We've got to be more adept at knowing what they want and how we provide that to them in the way they want it. And it's not going to be the way we were brought in the business or what we expected. If you take a look at the millennials today, there's 73 million millennials throughout the country today. 56 million of them are currently in the marketplace. Like I mentioned, they take up 41% of today's market. If you sit down and say, well, what does the baby boom population compose? We compose 32% of the marketplace. X generation is 27%. We lose, they win. So it's no longer what do we want, it is what do they want and how do we deliver it. This segment is so big that the demographers said, let's divide this out so that we can help you understand who they are. This has never happened before with any demographic segment in the world. So they divided it up into 6 segments. You've got the hip-ennial, the gadget guru, the millennial mom, the clean and green, the anti-millennial, and you've got the old school millennial. Now, if you sit down and say, why is that significant? It's significant because I think we would agree that as a baby boom generation, we came to business, maybe 20% of us should have been spoken to as potential for going into a sales career. We just weren't divided into segmentation. If I sat down and took this segmentation, I think you would agree with me without knowing any more about this that the gadget guru is not somebody you should probably bring into sales. They might be great in the analytics department of your home office, but they are probably not the people you want in sales. There's 2 groups here that are fabulous for coming into sales, the anti-millennial and the old school millennial. And this segmentation is not based upon how old they are or where they came in. It is how were they socialized in their lifetimes by their parents and their community. And that's the big difference. We'll spend much more time at 2:45 at the deep dive session going through and being able to identify who you should be talking to and who you probably should just stay away from for sake of time. As I mentioned, there's 56 million millennials in the workforce. However, what I want to say to you is this. They are multitaskers and they have great energy. These are great people to have in your organization. You may not have had the success you were hoping for, but they're fabulous people. They do want constant encouragement. If you're a baby boomer, we never wanted encouragement. We knew encouragement was just a cover-up for the criticizing feedback that we were about to get. So we were scared to death of any kind of feedback whatsoever. They want specific work directions. We were the, just give me the coach, give me the ball, coach, just give me the ball, I'll make the basket. I can do it, don't worry about it. We were ready to go. We're the get-it-done generation. They are the specific work directions, and they expect instant skill success. If it doesn't work out for them immediately, they'll probably leave you in a very quick period of time. So they may require a longer runway to bring into this business. They think team is good, and some of you think you got that down because you've divided your agencies into team. They expected that. That is not a wow moment to them. They thought you'd have a specialist in disability income and a specialist in qualified plans. But what they wanted by team is really interpreted by them as behavior modeling. And we can't find an agency in the country or a company that understands what that is. Behavior modeling can best be described if I said, let's go to the police academy and look at the rookie class coming out. We went to graduation. When the rookies graduated and they went to the police department, they would be paired up with a senior officer and they would ride together in the squad car to learn what the beat is like for the next 2 years. That's behavior modeling. It is not, I did joint work with 3 different people here in the last 2 months and did a lot of class work training, but by gosh, they're designed as teams. Totally different thing. They expect you to have a do-good societal focus. They have a sense of entitlement, and then here's the one that always kind of trips people up, and the millennials in here say, well, that's not really true. They have low conversation and low social skills. Now, that is not all of those 6 segments. There are 2 segments that are much better at this than others. But if this were not true, you would not have this going on. collegehelps.com is a site that is sent to every incoming freshman, to almost every college in America today, a week before freshman orientation. And the reason why is because they know there's a lot of anxiety from these new freshmen coming in. What do I say to somebody I don't know? Well, let's teach them the 3 M's. You can try this with the person next to you because I'm going to teach you how to be a conversation starter as is being taught to new freshmen. This is actually the Z generation right now that is like the millennials on steroids that are coming up next. The oldest is 23 years old this year. The 3 M's, starting a conversation. So, what's your major? That won't last very long. The second M, what kind of music do you like? Once we get done with that conversation, don't forget, learn them all. Have you seen any good movies lately? This is what's being taught to freshmen that are coming into college, that are going to be coming out of college in 4 years from now and applying for jobs. There's a problem with conversation skills in America today. How do you deal with that? How do you get people adept to being in today's marketplace? If you don't think that's true, Paul Barnwell, one of the foremost recognized educators in America today, was interviewed by Atlantic Magazine in December of this year, and he said, today, kids engage through screens and rarely have the opportunity to hone their interpersonal communication skills, skills that will sustain competent conversation. To add on top of that, I'm going to give you some frightening facts. Facebook this year lost 26% of their total users in 2018. Some of you have thought that, oh my gosh, this is the most connected group of people we've ever had in the history of the insurance industry. They got more prospects than we know what to do with. We've never seen more relationships. The problem is they digitalized their relationships. 44% of the people that left Facebook were millennials. On top of that, 42% additional of the 26% took an indefinite break from social media totally last year. That really kind of rings hollow when you sit down and think that in the last 5 or 6 years, many of you have put unbelievable effort into saying Facebook is where we need to be. Less than 6% of your posts are delivered on Facebook today. It doesn't matter that you decided to go ahead and give it to everybody in there. If the people there have not clicked on a link from you or visited your homepage, probably in the last 30 days, they will never see a post. 60 out of 1,000 posts are seen. I'm not talking read, are seen, will appear on the person's, on the own person's site. That probably causes a problem because, wow, what happened to the life events? Well, the problem with the life events is also this. The millennial knows, according to Pew Research, last year they interviewed 1,552 people with databases over 600 people, and they only knew 20% of the people in the database. The rest were either people they did not know who they were, didn't know how they got in there. It was like a contest to see who they could accumulate the most, or there were people they graduated from elementary school with 15 years ago and haven't had a contact. They are now not Facebook friends. They are Facebook strangers. Oh, they just had a baby. I'm supposed to call them. That's not going to happen. The millennial communication preferences in today's marketplace, 41% are on Snapchat. 27% on Instagram. 15 to 25% are either on IMO, YouTube, Zepeto, Zero, Whisper, Secret, TikTok, WhatsApp. I could go on and on and on, things that most of us, if you're older than 30 years old, you've never heard of. But they are not on Facebook, and they're not on Twitter. There's only one Twitter user in the country today. And it's not your millennial. So if you want to know more about this, at 2:45 we're going to do a deep dive session, Grapevine C. You'll also get a copy of a book we called Facts and Fictions. It's a 13-page pamphlet. It goes to the millennials to sit down and say, here is what's working in the marketplace today to help you open more doors, do more prospecting, be more fulfilled in your career, and we're going to take a really deep dive in that 2:45. I hope I see you at Grapevine C. Thank you.